Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So let's talk about eyes, and more specifically how to draw a realistic eye. So for this tutorial I will link in the description all materials I used, but just quickly, I used a HB pencil, a 2B, a 6B and an 8B. My 2B, 6B and 8B are all Mars Lumograph Black pencils, so I can get much darker values without the graphite shine. And you'll notice that I had a very detailed sketch to start off with. I was working from a reference image, and it is pretty important to have a detailed sketch to start off with. So I like to start with the iris. This is my HB pencil, and I like to go around and get a base layer on all of the iris, apart from anywhere that's got highlights. So, as I said, I'm working from a reference image, and so it's important to keep looking at the reference image and seeing where the dark values are, and where the highlights are, and like I said, trying not to go over the highlights. And then I blend it out. I either use a paintbrush like I did there, or a blending stump, which I will do shortly in the tutorial. But then again, just going around, just darkening up values. It's important to work it up in layers. For realism, you really have to go up in layers. You can't just go in dark straight away. You really need to build the layers up. You need the mid-tones, and you need the highlights and the dark tones. And you can't get that all together without layers. So it's really important to build those layers up. So I've just gone around building up more layers, building up darks where the darks need to be, like the pupil, building that up with more layers, getting it as dark as I can. And now I put the spokes in, and then I go around with my eraser and just take out any bits that need lightening up. But as you can see, there's lots of layers, lots and lots and lots of layers. The whites of the eyes are not white, so that is a common misconception. They are eyeballs, so they're spherical, so where it goes underneath the eyelid and where it disappears behind the waterline on the bottom of the lid, there is shading. I don't use my pencil on the eyelid, I use the blending stump. I find it much easier. You don't get pencil lines on the whites of the eyes then. And then I've just gone over the top eyelid with my HB pencil, and then smoothed it out with a blending stump and my paintbrush, and then gone over again with my 2B pencil on the darker parts, just getting those darker. And then I'm just going through now with my 6B pencil, just in the crease, just to get the shade in. And you'll see I do quite a lot of drawing with my blending stump. Once you've used it to blend out some darks, you'll have quite a bit of graphite build up on it. So you need to be careful. If it's too dark, you can make a mess if there's too much graphite built up on the blending stump. But for the whites of the eyes, I use the blending stump without putting any pencil on the whites of the eyes. And I also use the blending stump for doing the veins in the whites of the eyes. I find it's so much easier than trying to draw it with your pencil. And now I'm just going over with my HB pencil, just marking out where I want the eyelashes to be. The eyelashes are so important. You really need to pay attention of your reference image and pay attention to the direction they're growing, where they're growing from, and how they clump. Eyelashes tend to clump into gatherings of more than one eyelash. They're not usually separate. This particular image was a woman wearing mascara, so they're very clumped on this one. But even normally, eyelashes do tend to clump together. But like I say, if you're working from a reference image, you just need to pay attention to where they're growing from, and the direction they're growing, and where the clumps start, and don't add any more than you need to. I see lots of people adding eyelashes, especially across the bottom, across the waterline, adding to how many are there, and you really don't need, you shouldn't be doing that. You really can't do that. If you're looking to get it as real as possible, you just need to follow the reference image and follow what's there. Draw what you see and don't draw what you think should be there. And then again, now I'm just going through with my darker pencils and my blending stump just to get the darks as dark as I need them to be. And then I move on to the waterline and the eyelashes across the bottom. Again, pay close attention to the eyelashes across the bottom. They don't grow from where most people think they grow. Most people think they grow from the waterline, which is directly below the whites of the eyes. But that's not right. In fact, they grow out of the skin below the waterline. And that's why I decided to draw a bigger eye, so that you could all see these principles apply for any eye, whether it's a big eye or a small eye, whatever. The principles are the same. I just decided to draw a big eye so that you could see in detail just where they were growing from, and you can see much clearer than a little eye. But anyway, so the eyelashes on the bottom are much more sporadic. They don't grow anywhere near like they do across the top of the eyelashes. And like I say, really do pay attention to the reference image. And then I just go back through. That was my HB pencil that I went round with then, just to mark out where I want them, and then just going back through again with my 6B pencil. This is just darkening them up. And that's basically it, really. I mean, if you understand how light works, and this really is something incredibly simple to draw. Once you understand the concept of how light works. So if you haven't already watched my other video about how light works, I really advise to go and watch that, because it just makes things like so much easier. You don't, although I keep saying about looking back to the reference image, yes, you need to look at your reference image and see where things are, but if you can conceptually understand where shadows would be anyway and where edge to values will be, then you can make things look realistic, and you don't have to rely on just drawing the exact shapes that you see on the reference image. I've took so many reference images, and once I've finished my drawing, so many people are like, that's better than the reference image. You actually can make a drawing look better than the actual image if you understand the simple concepts, because reference images can be taken with a flash, for example, and that kills all shadows. So trying to draw from a reference image that's been taken with a flash is difficult, but if you understand these principles and you understand where shadows would be if the flash hadn't have been there, you can absolutely make your drawing look so much better than the reference image. So I really do implore you to go and watch how light works, try and take it in, try and understand it, and I promise you your drawings will just start exploding off the page. So that's it for me for this time. I will be back soon with more tutorials on how to draw mouth, nose, ears, face, hair, all the facial features. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned, and yeah, I'll be back soon. Alright, thanks guys.